just riffing on what Chris
Yeah,
said, I would
yeah,
summarize it as community-owned web. Oh, sorry,
yep,
contributor-owned web. So it's you could say user-owned, but it's not quite. It's not users. It's
yep,
contributors to the blockchain in proportion to what the blockchain values. And it's
yep.
not quite community-owned because community is a fuzzy word. So it's contributor-owned web, and that's what we're moving to. And if you go back to good old Unix, which I know Chris remembers, it seems like every little Unix command line thing that you could do turned into a major company. So grep became Google, and Finger became Twitter, and NetTrack became all the games and so on, and NetNews, Usenet became like Reddit. And there was this great command in Unix for those of you who are geeks, like chmod, where you would kind of set the user privileges and
Yep.
how much power you had. And there was read, and there was write, and there was execute. And we've gone from the read only web to the writable web to the executable web and the ownable web. And it's going to be owned by the contributors. So I think it's actually a fantastic outcome. It's great to see the web evolve away from a small set of monopolies and duopolies into something that is going to be dynamically owned by the contributors. And I think it's also part of the rise of NFTs is along that line, because before NFTs came along, 2008, you had Bitcoin created, which was this massive, incredible breakthrough invention that underlies all of crypto today. But it did have this flaw where it was like, well, just the people who were around when Bitcoin was there early and got to adopt it early cheaply are the big winners. And then people said, well, okay, a decentralized ledger makes sense, but why that one? Why is that one the one? So people started creating more and more of them. So now there's thousands of them. And then people came along and said, well, okay, why that particular coin? Why not this coin or this meme? And it turns out that everything digital can be made scarce. Everything digital can be made valuable if the community agrees that it has value. And it now turns crypto and the Web3 ecosystem into a dynamic process where new people are always coming up, new contributors can always come in, create new value, and capture a piece of that value. And it's not a static ossified system. And every system prior to this one was a static system. And I think with Web3, you now have a truly dynamic system. Everything is always up for grabs. If Uniswap fails to do something right, SushiSwap is waiting in the wings. If a token community does something wrong, then it forks and there's an exit. The old protocols, as long as it has believers, they don't die. If someone comes up with a better new NFT or a better approach to NFTs, then they can sort of start the whole thing afresh and do a drop. It's a web that allows communities, and it does have some network effects, but it doesn't really allow for long-term lock-in and exploitation of the users, because a new set of contributors can always go off and start a new thing, and then because the data lives openly in these stateful open databases, a lot of it is portable. Users carry their identities, users are portable, communities are portable, networks are portable. This is a much freer web than we've encountered in the last decade. So I think it takes a while for people to wrap their heads around. The people who say Instagram already does this, or Facebook is already good enough. They're used to living in a form of serfdom. They're used to living in a form of digital slavery. Not to use that word lightly, but it's a serfdom where it's like my work is owned by the landlord. Zuck owns my work and can take away my user handle or take away my data or delete me anytime he wants. That's not a good world that we want to be trapped in. But it's a little hard for people to kind of imagine a world in which they're no longer serfs on, it used to be Jack's farm, and that's the new Twitter CEO, Parag, I think, or Zuck's farm or whoever, right?